There are 7 bad habits that are destroying your trades business right now. And I'm confident most trades companies are doing at least 3 of them. Number 4 is the one that shocked me when I first saw the numbers, and it's probably the most single expensive mistake I see contractors and trades businesses make. And guys, before we go any further, it's really important to note, if you are currently doing any of these 7 bad habits, it's not your fault. Nobody ever taught you how to run a business properly. You probably learned how to do the trade to a really high standard, hence why you set up your own company. But nobody's ever sat you down when you're registering your limited company on Companies House and said, right, here's how you actually run a profitable business. And these habits are costing you huge amounts of money, but also time and most likely a little bit of your sanity. So without further ado, let me show you what 7 bad habits they are, and more importantly, what you can do about them to improve the quality of your company and feel in more control in the process. Number 1, applying for every single tender under the sun. I see this consistently with trades companies who think more tenders equals more chance of winning work. So what happens is you spend 20 hours putting together a tender application, filling out all the forms, getting all the policies together, pricing it all up, and then finally hitting that submit button. And it feels good when you send it after all the work that you've put into it. And then either you never hear back or you lose someone who undercut you by 2%. And here is what is actually happening here, guys. You're wasting weeks of your life on tenders you were never going to win in the first place. Not every tender is a genuine opportunity. Some of them are designed to get quotes so the client can beat up their existing contractor on price. They've already decided who's going to get the work. They just need to free quotes, just tick the box their end. So the solution is being selective about what tenders you actually go for in the first place. Looking at the margins, looking at the payment terms, looking at the client themselves, and whether this is actually work that's going to be worth your while from a profit and a cash flow standpoint. Because your time is valuable, and spending 20 hours on a losing bid is 20 hours you could have spent winning better work elsewhere. And that's why every one of my mentees has access to a high-level tender consultant. So they can sense check every tender before wasting days of their time on it. Number 2 is not knowing how to price a job properly. Not knowing how to guarantee you're actually making profit on every single job before you even submit the quote. Now, what most contractors do is add up materials, add up labor, whack a little bit on top, and hope that covers everything. Then they finish the job and wonder why there's never anything left for them. And the reason is they did not include half their actual costs in their pricing in the first place. And I'm talking about all the overheads that no one really thinks about. They're kind of like a second thought, if you like. Your van costs, your insurance, your tools, the time you actually spent quoting the job in the first place. All the stuff that eats away at your margin without you even realizing it. I mean, I've worked with contractors who genuinely thought they're making 20% on every job. But when we actually sat down and actually calculated it properly to the pound, included every single cost, they're making as low as like 2, 3, 4%. Now, think about that for a second. You're working 60 hours a week, running around like a headless chicken, stressing about everything, having to manage staff, and your actual profit on all that work is 4%. That is barely worth getting out of bed for, and it's happening to more and more contractors and trades companies than you probably would believe. Now, the solution to this terrible habit is having a proper pricing formula that captures every single cost in your business. Not just the obvious ones, but the ones that guarantee you're making proper profit on every job before you even start it. And that's why all my mentees and portfolio companies have a simple pricing formula to use to make sure they never lose money on a single job ever again. Right, so that's 2 down, 5 to go. And honestly, the next one, probably causes the most damage long term because you can't fix what you can't see. So let's get into number 3. Number 3 is having untidy numbers. And by that, I mean no proper bookkeeping system. Receipts everywhere, invoices mixed up with personal expenses, and you've got absolutely no idea what is actually happening in your business from a financial standpoint. Most contractors wait until the end of the year for their accountant to send them their accounts. And that is when they find out if they actually made any money or not on paper. By which point, that is way too late to do anything about. You've already spent the money, you've already done the jobs, and now you're just finding out 12 months later that half of them barely made you anything. You cannot make good decisions based on bad information. If you do not know what profit you made last month or which jobs are actually making you money, how do you know what you should be doing more of and what you should stop doing altogether? You don't have a clue. And that is why it's so important to have tidy numbers. Because if you don't, you're just guessing, you're just hoping, and that is a terrible, terrible way to run a business. If you and your family's lifestyle is reliant on your business to perform, then isn't it time you started acting like a professional instead of just winging it? And the fix is getting someone who actually knows your books properly for you every single week. Not just once a year, but someone that's sorting your numbers out every single week. So you can actually see what's happening while there's still time to actually do something about it. And that's why all my mentees have access to our in-house bookkeeper to help them systemize their bookkeeping from day one. Quick one before we carry on, guys. Jamie here. I've put something together called the 52-week contractor checklist. 1 task per week for a whole year. And every task will actually move the needle forward for you and your trades business. It covers cash flow, pricing, lead gen, getting your time back. Everything's covered in there. And more importantly, it's completely free. The link's in the description below in this video. Grab it now, stick it on the wall, start working your way through it, and I'm sure you'll get huge amounts of value from it. Right, back to the video. Which brings me to bad habit number 4, which is no proper HR policies or documentation, which means you are completely winging it every single time you need to hire someone, discipline someone, or deal with any kind of staff issue. You got no job descriptions, no contracts that are actually worth anything and legally binding, no handbooks, no processes for dealing with problems when they come up. And when something does go wrong, you're Googling it at midnight trying to figure out what you're legally allowed to do, and then you end up with a dodgy ChatGPT answer that you're praying is actually legally sound, but you have no idea. So quick one on that, guys. Heads up, ChatGPT is a long way away from being reliable enough to trust with your business and with your livelihood. I see this all the time and it always ends badly. Employment law does not care that nobody taught you to do this properly or not. If you get this wrong, you can end up in a tribunal. And even if you win, that's going to cost you tens of thousands of pounds in legal fees and months of stress that you just do not need while trying to be a partner, be a family man, and run a business. So the best way to prevent this is having a proper HR and recruitment systems in place, actual job descriptions that attract the right people, interview processes that tell you if someone can actually do the job in the first place, contracts that protect you, and procedures for when things go wrong. Because things will go wrong. It is business. It's just whether you are prepared for it or not. Again, we make sure all of our mentees have regular access to our in-house HR and recruitment expert to prevent this. Number 5, throwing money at marketing but having no marketing strategy. This stresses me out, this one. So this usually means you're buying leads, trying Google ads, posting random stuff on Facebook or on LinkedIn and just hoping something sticks. You're spending thousands every month and you've got no idea what's actually bringing the work you do win in and what's just burning cash through your marketing spend. Usually it's word of mouth that's keeping you alive, and you don't have any way to track what's working and what's not. And there's no real plan or system behind any of it. So marketing without a system is really just gambling. And I know that sounds a bit harsh, but it is true. You might get lucky and something works for a little bit, and then it stops and you're back to square one wondering, where's next month's work actually going to come from? So in my opinion, the best way to fix this is by having a proper marketing system that works consistently. Something that positions you as the expert in your field and brings in the right type of work. A simple system that allows you to actually track what's giving you a return on your marketing spend, so you know what to double down on and what to avoid moving forwards. For trades companies doing B2B work, business to business, the best system for this is LinkedIn. And I know I keep saying it, but it genuinely is the biggest opportunity out there right now for trades and contractors. And most people are completely overlooking it. Between my own companies and my mentees' companies, we've generated over £10 million in revenue just by following a simple LinkedIn system that any blue collar company can follow. Right, so just 2 more for this video to round it up for the 7. And these last 2 are the ones I see causing a lot of damage, because they're the difference between a business that is just about surviving and a business that you can tell is really going to scale to the next level. So number 6 is chasing revenue, but never tracking cash flow. You're obsessed with hitting a certain turnover number, but you've got no idea if you actually have any cash in the bank when you actually need it to pay for materials, for payroll, for VAT, for anything. So what usually happens is you land a big job, you're buzzing because the revenue value looks great on paper, but then you realise you've got to pay for all the materials up front, you've got to pay your subbies every week or every other week, and you're not getting paid yourself for 45 days or sometimes 60 or 90 days. And suddenly your bank balance has been drained and you can't make payroll. So here's the brutal truth about this, and it catches more trades companies out than anything else, in my opinion. Revenue means nothing, absolutely zero. It's a vanity metric. If the cash is not in the bank when you need it, revenue is pointless. You could be doing $1 million, $2 million, $3 million and still go bust because your cash flow is completely backwards. And I see this happen to companies of every size, and that's why you go on the news every now and again and you see why some of the big boys that everyone's heard of in the industry have gone bust, and you're shocked that you see them on the news going bust, because you know that they've got huge contracts, you know that they've got big name customers, but it's cash flow that kills them, and it's cash flow that kills businesses of every size. And the best way to avoid this is having a proper cash flow system in place that shows you what money's coming in and what money's going out over the next 3 months. So you can see any problems before they actually arrive, and you could plan around them instead of getting caught out at short notice and having to react on a day's notice when you don't have any cash in your bank to actually do anything about it. And this is something I educate all of my mentees on, that could literally be the difference between them making payroll and struggling to pay their own mortgage. Lastly, number 7, this is the one that costs you huge amounts in time. Spending years of trial and error trying to figure this stuff out all for yourself, when you could just copy proven systems from people who've actually already solved it for you. I see contractors waste 5, 10, sometimes 15 years making expensive mistakes, trying things that don't work, learning the hard way, when all of this has already been figured out by other people. Every single year you spend trying to work it out for yourself is a year you're not making proper money and not building something valuable in your business, and not having the freedom you thought you'd get when you actually set up your business to begin with. And nobody expects you to be an expert at bookkeeping, an expert at HR, pricing, cash flow, marketing, all of that. You're an expert in your chosen field. That's why you set up an entity in the first place. But running a business is a completely different skill set, and there's no shame in getting help with the stuff you were never taught to do in the first place. Look guys, none of these bad habits are your fault. Nobody sat you down when you started your business and taught you how to keep proper books, how to hire people properly, how to price jobs properly, how to manage cash flow, or build proper systems. You were just expected to figure this all out on your own while also running the business and doing all the work yourself, and probably while juggling a family at the same time, which, trust me, I know is pretty much impossible, particularly without systems. But at least now you know what the actual problems are, and every single one of these is fixable. And once you have the right systems in place, your business can change overnight. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I hope you got value from this one.